Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Time for me to finally get back on this ABC review series. For you, it's only been one day since you saw my Godzilla vs. Biollante review. For me, it's been about a week or so. Took a break ski for Christmas, just so you know where I'm at. I took a break for Christmas. Now I'm back on this because I want to get this going. Because I gotta get this done, and then I kind of want to start February. That won't be till like January, but I want to. By the time I get these done, hopefully it'll be January. But you know what I mean. So H is for boom. Here comes the boom. Ready or not. I actually used that song. Although I do like the one from The Longest Yard. Boom. Here comes the boom. Here comes the boom. Here comes the y'all don't really want it now. That one. Whatever. But yeah. And it stars Kevin James as this teacher who finds out the music department is getting shut down, so he decides to go into professional MMA fighting to pay back the money to pay for the money that they need, you know. Yeah. So I remember when this came out and I saw the trailer and I went, "Oh, this is just gonna be a fat guy is doing MMA movie." And I'm not a huge fan of Kevin James. I liked him in King of Queens. I love that show. I like him in that. And like the movies he's in with Adam Sandler, like Pixels and Grown Ups, I like him fine in those. But I don't. I remember the trailer for Paul Blart Mall Cop, and I'm just like, this is stupid. And that's what he's most known for, is Paul Blart Mall Cop and those sort of things. It's just like, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm a Kevin James guy. So this movie was given to me by my friend Brandon because he already had a copy. So he's like, "Here, you want it?" I'm like, "Sure." This is actually one of 3 Kevin James movies I'm covering. Yes, one starts. The other 2. One starts with a P. The other starts with a Z. Now I've already mentioned the P one. But I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking, no, it's gonna be all about, oh look, the fat guy's doing MMA. Oh, and as a fat guy myself, I know that that's not really possible. So, and yeah, there's a lot of him getting his ass kicked. That's gonna happen. But what I appreciate is it's not just like, it's not a one note joke of fat guy. Look at the fat guy. He's so fat. He can do. No, they really don't make any fat jokes. Just a thing towards the end where they had like a cherry cheesecake or something, and he's like, "Oh, no, you're on the thing." Oh, but I made weight, and Other than that, and this is from Frank Coraci, who also directed The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, Click, Zookeeper, and Blended. So I'm on other things, Ridiculous 6, which I know is not well known, but all those are decent, I think. Right? So, yes, connected to Adam Sandler, I know. And I feel like this. That actually explains Henry Winkler. He is also in Click and The Waterboy. So, yeah. So we start off with seeing, his name is Scott Voss. His name is Scott. A fat guy named Scott. Well, what do you know? He's actually thinner than I am, but anyway. And keep in mind, he has lost a lot of weight, even here, compared to when he was the fat guy telling jokes on King of Queens. And by now, he's lost even more weight. So he's not, he's better, he's in better shape, So he's done that. So he plays Scott Voss, a laid-back teacher who doesn't care about his students or his job. I mean, you watch this and you think, okay, it's a cliche. By the end of the movie, he's going to come around to his students, which is what happens. But he has a relationship with this music teacher named Marty, played by Henry Winkler. American treasure, to be sure. up there with Dick Van Dyke and the late Betty White. But, yeah. So he has this relationship with Marty, and he'll see how he loves music and how he teaches that to the students, and then and they have a meeting in which, so I was confused because there's a plot line with a character, and I was immediately confused about something later, because throughout this movie, Greg Germann, his character is presented as the principal, the one in charge. They always go to him. They want to talk to him and stuff. But apparently there is a vice principal. I'm guessing Greg Germann is the principal, and the other guy that they say later, that Elkin, is the vice principal. I read that, but so they say that they're short on money and they got to do budget cuts because this school is going to hell. So they got to do budget cuts, and they're cutting the music department. And this is the one only thing that makes Scott stand up for this. I don't like that no other teachers stand up for it. I know they're trying to show that all these teachers don't care, so but and he tries to organize something, and only the nurse shows up. I think she's the nurse. The nurse shows up. It's I can't remember her name. She's on the freaking cover. Salma Hayek. Yeah. She's a nurse. I would be sick every day. Yeah. And they do sort of do that, just to kind of get over that, is that you start with his students don't care, but then he starts to kind of put more effort into it, as the movie goes along. But he gets put in this, he gets set up to kind of make extra money to teach this citizenship class. And that's where he meets Bas Rutten. Well, his name is Nico, but he's played by Bas Rutten. Yeah. Yeah, that's a name. That's a name I recognize. Bas Rutten. And the students, and he wants to, be tutored. So he goes over to the guy's house, and they're watching UFC, and he finds out that in UFC, if you get paid whether or not you win or lose. So if you lose, you get $10,000. This inspires Scott to start MMA fighting and losing to make money to pay for the music department, which works. It starts to work, and then he gets sick of losing. I want to quote Nacho Libre, "I want to win." So. Yeah, and they're like, no, you can't. You're not. You don't have any offense. They take him to this other guy. He's like, oh, he has no offense, and but he gets into a UFC fight with Jason Mayhem Miller of Bully Beatdown, and this made me think of Bully Beatdown because you ever watched that show, Bully Beatdown? What it was, if you don't know, it was a show where I don't know how set up this was or whatnot, but it would be where you get a contestant, and he would call out. They would select you, and they have Jason Mayhem Miller, who was an MMA fighter, not a very well respected person to be sure, but yeah, he's green hair in this movie, which is weird. He always had the red. He had the mohawk. He had the red stripe, but it was always off center. He was really off center. You ever see some of his fights? Weird things that he would do, the shit. Yeah. Anyway, I saw one of his fights once. He got his ass kicked. Yeah, I used to watch MMA with my grandpa. He ordered UFC 118. It was Carwin versus Lesnar. Yeah. By the way, they announced. I think it's the date. I think it's what they say. Anderson Silva versus Shane Carwin. Let's see that fight. Is that the what? Is that the what? Is that what it is? It's Shane Carwin versus somebody. It was Anderson Silva. I'd like to see that. If that's what it was. I know it's Carwin, but even Joe Rogan is in this movie. Yeah, he's in this. But anyway, so in Bully Beatdown, they would have you or the contestant call out their bully. They bring in Jason Mayhem Miller. He call out the bully for I think it was basically 2 rounds of an MMA fight. One was a submission fight, and every time they tapped, you got 5, and then every time they tapped, the 10 G's or is it a G or something like that. It's $10,000. Each round was for 5, and so you got. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. I had it on my Xbox. So first round was submission. So they tapped. That's 1,000 off, right? And so if they tapped 5 times during the round, then that's 5 G's to the person who was bullied. Then you get the second round. That's the kickboxing round. All you got to do is survive that round, and you get the other 5 G's. But if you don't, then that also goes to the person that they bullied. There are times where the bully gets some money, and there are some times where they get nothing, and everything goes to the people. The only thing I didn't like is when there was 2 people that this person bullied, then that means I had to split the money. Because they know you don't get 10 G's, one of you gets 5, the other gets 5. So that means if the guy tapped twice in the first round, and made it out of the other round, that's 600 G's. So like 6 G's, right? Taps twice. There's only 5 G's in that run. You'd hit 3 G's. Excuse me, 3 G's. Plus, no, I was right. It's 3 in the first round. It's 8 G's, and you got to split, so you only get 4K. Yeah, $4,000 instead of the $10K you'd get normally. So, yeah. And that's what it was. And what it is, the reason I say this fight is like that is because there are times on Bully Beatdown that the bully gets kicked so hard he throws up. And in this particular scene, after he wins, Scott gets a lucky shot, knocks Jason Mayhem Miller on his ass. I know he has a different name in the movie, but I don't care. And then pukes all over the place, which just happens to the bully sometimes. I'm like, that is actually kind of realistic. But then they throw in, oh, he ate some rancid applesauce that Henry Winkler made. Like, no! Don't make a joke off of it. Because that could really happen. I've seen it. And stuff like that. That could actually happen. Don't make it a joke. Don't be like, oh, he only threw up because of the applesauce. It wasn't the stress or what his body went through in that fight. Because he actually tried this time. Nah, it's just bad applesauce. Which, that joke didn't need to exist. There's also a plot line where he has this student, Malia, who his father has told her that she can no longer be in music class because she needs to work at the store. We do find out his side of the story where it's like, my cook quit, so I have to go to the back, so we need her to be the hostess. But like, then he has this speech about how, you have to stand up, and do your own thing and all that. And this is where, like, he goes to his classroom and he's talking to his class, and they talk about the brain and stuff like that, and healing the cuts and everything, because they know he's a fighter. And this is where Greg Germann gets wind of it. He's like, you gotta, the plotline I didn't care for, and this feels like Kevin James wrote this. It feels like, hey, I gotta write a scene for my brother. I gotta write a part for my brother because he was also in King of Queens, which I didn't realize that was his actual brother. I know he played his brother on the show, but I was just like he looks a lot like him, and it turns out it is really his brother. But there's a whole thing where him and Melissa Peterman are married, and they're yelling at each other constantly, and there's not really a solid plot line. In the end, they kind of just solidify that they're still together. There's no divorce or nothing. I don't know. It was kind of weird. It just felt like I had to. My brother has to be in this movie, is what it felt like. So, as the movie progresses, you see him fighting bigger, better fights. He's starting to win a little more. And then he gets a call. The other trainer guy comes to me. Hey, did you know the UFC wants you to fight the guy that's fighting this guy they showed earlier? I forgot his name. I'm actually gonna. The sound's on. There we go. The name of the music to start playing. I'm actually gonna type it in because I need to know. It's like Ken the Executioner something. It's a character they showed earlier in the movie, and I immediately went, so is that the guy that end up fighting then? And it was. Stop asking me for money, Wikipedia. No, I don't want to give you my email address, you stupids. Go away. What to say? What am I looking for? Here comes the boom. Here comes the boom. Not Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. It came out in 2012. Okay. Salma Hayek. Jason Miller played Lucky Patrick Murray. That's the green. Ken the Executioner Dietrich is the one he's going to fight. Played by... I can't pronounce that. Krzysztof Sosowski. He's a retired mixed martial arts fighter. Polish-Canadian descent. Cool. Munoz. Romero, is that the one? It doesn't look like him. It was Mark de la Grota. Played himself. I think that is. But anyway. So the guy tells him they need a fighter, a replacement, to fight the Executioner in a undercard fight. But Bas Rutten said no. Nico said no. And I'm like, oh, he's just not ready. And so they talk about it. He's like, no, you're not ready. This. And then it just comes out that he's jealous because he was supposed to fight in the UFC and he trained too hard and he hurt his neck and he never went in. He ended up never doing it. So, but he's like, no, you are ready. I'm like, he's not ready, but he's going to lose. He's going to lose. And then they ruin it. He's going to lose. He's going to win $10,000. That's all that they need left. Not all they need. So, yeah. Then they ruin it. Because while they're there... By the way, there's also the relationship thing between him and Salma Hayek, which is kind of... it's a little bit But like meh. But like, there's a whole thing where they're at the... Say, hey, I'm going off to fight here. Give me a look. She's like, no, we're not ready. You're not ready. And so, I get there, they're ready to go. And she calls him, and she's like, the vice principal got arrested. He's been embezzling money, including all the money you had just been uh, fighting for. And I'm like, no, no, don't do that. Don't force them to have to win this fight. You were doing so good. You were doing so good. But it's confusing. It is very confusing what they did here. He's like, they're forcing him to win this fight. But they try not to make it look like that, even though he was just told that everything that he did is like, oh, let's just go. $10 doesn't make me enough. And he's like, no, I want to do this. I'm going to go through with this. Because they're like, well, what are you teaching your students if you go through this? What am I teaching them if I don't? He's got a point. So they're going to do this. Another plot point I forgot to mention is that throughout the first part of this film, he comes out to that boom, here comes the boom, here comes the boom. Ready or not. Until one fight when someone else comes out to it, which wouldn't happen because I feel like you got to coordinate that. And when this person's people say, oh, this is his song, they go, well, someone else already has that, so you have to change it. And they don't tell him. No one tells Kevin James, tells Scott. The other guy just comes out and like, what am I to do? That's my song, hang him out to that. So instead, Henry Winkler has to come out to Holly Holy, sing, yeah, that song, Holly Holy by Neil Diamond, which is very awkward the first time, but people get into it, you know. And I say that because we get to the fight, and they get ready to start, and they hear the song, and he goes, that sounds a bit different. It does. So Henry Winkler goes out and he looks, and he's like, you gotta come out here, you gotta see this. And he goes out there, and Malia and the other students in the music class, just the music students, we see that his other students are watching. Like all the teachers and the students are watching. His citizenship class is watching. His brother and his wife and the kids later are watching. I do want to point out the joke when he's talking to his brother. He's like, his little son is like, can I watch the world's most dangerous car crashes? And the brother goes, should I? Kevin James goes, no, get out of here. And you see a little bit of it. They're letting him watch UFC. I let my son watch it. He did. We watched it was a boxing actually, but it was like he was younger. It was the McGregor boxer guy, you know what I mean. The McGregor Mayweather match fight. My folks ordered that. My stepdad wanted to watch it, so anyway. So getting warm. So like I said, they do this weird because it already feels like he's forced to win this, but he gets in there. This whole thing happens. Everything we see people, and I'm watching all these people watching. And I'm like, where's the dad? Where's her dad? And right at the end, they show him going, and that made me cry. I was already kind of teared up, but that really hit me. I'm like, yes, the dad. Kind of at the end there, but yeah. So he's standing there, he's getting ready to fight, and he's looking at all those students, and he goes over to them, and he goes, how much do I get if I win? And Nico's like, what are you talking about? The other guy goes, I know what he's talking about. 50 grand. So, yeah, now and so it's a little confusing, because that scene works if you get rid of the embezzlement plot line. Because it's like, because it's also very confusing to think of. He's just been told that all this money he worked for is gone. And $10,000 isn't going to be enough. But he was still going to go just go in and do whatever and possibly lose. Right? That's what he was intending. He's just going to do it to do it. And I understand it's more about pride now than it is about that. But it's about the money. But like, you know, it's a little bit confusing. But now he's seen what the students are capable of. He's like, no, I'm going to do this. Which is what it should have been. But it just feels like you get rid of that plot line with that. He's like, I'm going to go over the top of this. I'm going to win this. You didn't need the embezzlement plot line. I was also confused because I assumed that Elkins was Greg Germann. And then they show him in the audience at the school or whatever watching. I'm like, wait a minute, shouldn't he be in jail? And I had to look it up. I'm like, no, it's not the same guy. But I swear he's only been talking to Greg Germann through the entire movie. Did we ever meet the vice principal? He's cast. There's a character, Mookie Barker is the actor's name. I haven't looked at the picture. I'm like, I don't recognize this guy. Did they show him once? I don't know. But you know what happens? He wins. But I like how they do this. Because it's like he's trying to stop them from getting the arm bar in. Because in previous fights, every time there's been a submission, he taps right away. Because that shit hurts. Even when it's not done by an MMA fighter. So he's trying to stop. He gets him in the arm bar. And he's like, don't tap. Don't tap. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's like, come on, I taught you how to do this. I taught you how to do this. Come on. Come on. He's able to reassert himself, grab this, and in a very confusing ending, he picks the guy up, drops him down, and that knocks him out. I mean, he landed on his head, so maybe, but he said, no, he's out. He's out. I'm like, I've seen that done in wrestling where it doesn't work and they just move out of it. This is supposed to be realistic. You're telling me that wrestlers can take that and keep going, but UFC fighters take that and be out? Come on. Come on. And I know it's a little more safe in wrestling, but still. No, he wins. He doesn't puke. He wins. He celebrates. And they decide that the first kiss has to be through the chain. Why didn't you just come into the cage? Why? But yeah, he gets to keep the music class. They have enough money, and Nico passes all the students in the citizenship class. Passed. They're all American citizens. I do like when Malia is teaching Nico. He uses faithfully. In America, there is a president. He serves for 4 terms before he's done. Yeah. I like that. If only it was just 4 terms. But, yeah, I like that. And that is a way some teachers teach. They use music. And that's what shows you that music is important, right? Yeah. But, yeah, I like this movie. I'll say it's pretty good. I liked it. I did. You know? Now I have a feeling the other Kevin James movies might not work as well for me, but this one did. You know? So, what are your thoughts on Here Comes the Boom? Leave me a comment, so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.